Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am FIDELIA AGWUNCHA. 4 people have been confirmed dead from a Boko Haram attack in Maiduguri on Thursday evening. A statement signed by Borno State Police spokesperson Edet Okun said 2 men of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad and 7 other persons sustained injuries from gunshots and explosions in the attack. The terrorists had attempted to infiltrate the city through the Jidari Polo area, but were repelled by a joint Nigerian government force of the police, army, Air Force and other security agencies. The military did not give a death toll, but the police has now said 4 civilians were killed in the attack alongside 2 suicide bombers. Some government officials of countries under the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS have been meeting in Abuja, Nigeria's capital city. The meeting centers around the farmers' headers crisis, which has plagued some countries in West Africa like Nigeria. In his opening address, Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo attributed the ongoing security challenges in Nigeria and other West African countries to the poor documentation of movements across borders. Nigeria called the meeting to find a collaborative solution to the problem of free movement of undocumented persons and animals.
In recent times, some parts of West Africa have been battling various security challenges, including terrorism and farmers' headers crisis.
Thank you, sir.
This is the reason why some key government officials, including envoys, ministers and military personnel from countries under the Economic Community of the West African States, are gathered here in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. They want to find a lasting solution to the farmers' headers crisis. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo is one of the key speakers at the event. In his address, Osinbajo cites poor security at the borders as one of the key factors causing the region's insecurity crisis.
Regrettably, what we have been confronted with over the years is the failure to fully follow and enforce the terms of these protocols, and in some cases, a failure to activate sections of the protocol. So that where, for example, transhuman certificates are to be used and endorsed by medical or immigration officials, this is not the case. This has to change. We can no longer continue to tolerate the undocumented movement of persons and animals that simply contribute to the escalation of our security challenges. We must be able to track movement. We must ensure that the protocols are complied with and relevant sections are activated.
Other speakers suggest ways to improve security at the borders. They advocate the cooperation of all member states to find a lasting solution.
Some ECOWAS countries, notably Senegal, Guinea, and Niger, for example, have developed strong pastoral codes and local dispute resolution mechanisms. There, previous tensions in the past have been resolved through dialogue and mutual arrangements. There is therefore good practice to draw from. We must capitalize on these good practices and learn from them. It is also important to stress that while the trend points to heightened conflict between pastoralists and farmers, the situation in each ECOWAS member state varies and must be understood contextually.
The headers crisis has affected some states in north-central Nigeria. The governor of one of the affected states, Tanko Alimakura, is also seeking the collaboration of ECOWAS members to stop the crisis.
I think there is need for time-to-time cooperation between the constituent states to come together to find a lasting solution. And I want to assure them that as governors in Nigeria and amongst those whose areas are being affected by this crisis, I want to assure them that whatever decisions are taken from this conference, we will surely support, collaborate and partner with them to ensure that we implement them to the letter so that we will be able to reduce the crisis in our country.
Farmers' headers conflict is the new sub-regional security threat. The resolutions at this meeting are expected to be used to form a long-lasting security framework to tackle the problem. Adeshewa Odushoga, TV360, Lagos.
The National Economic Council (NEC) has proposed the adoption of ranching in Benue, Taraba, Adamawa, Kaduna and Plateau State to curb farmers-herdsmen clashes. At a meeting presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the council approved the creation of ranches in the states affected by the clashes. Briefing newsmen on the outcome of the meeting, Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi said ranching would improve the well-being of the cattle and also allow the herders and their families access to good schools and medical facilities.
Agree that movement is not either profitable to the herdsman because the herdsman values the milk from the cow even more than the cow itself, so that the movement is not healthy for the cows. It dries up the meat and then gives less than 2 liters of milk per cow per day. So we condemn the issue of foreign invasion by the foreign herdsmen, and I'm happy that the federal government and of course the Honorable Minister of Agriculture is already talking with them. Today there was a meeting of ECOWAS countries on this subject. And we also agree that this movement also by the nomadic herdsmen has to stop, and and occasionally also the immigrants, those who have settled, who migrated, from other parts of the country into various locations, like the Middle Belt and the South. They sometimes also go into conflict with farmers because of movement of their cows. So we agree that the most profitable way and modern way of rearing these cattle is by ranching. And so we've agreed that the 5 states that are involved are going to give land. Niger has also given land, though it's outside these 5 states. Kaduna has also given land. Plateau is also given land. Ranching is being practiced in Mambila, Plateau, in Taraba State. And they have success story, with regard to that.
The Economic Council also debated on another solution to the farmers' crisis. The Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, warned that the Nigerian government will no longer adhere to the ECOWAS agreement of free movement of persons and goods.
Tell them that we may not be able to abide by the ECOWAS protocol, which says that men and goods and animals can move freely within our borders. I was in Katsina one night when the governor told me that he was there, and they told him that 10,000 cows had just arrived from somewhere in West Africa. He had to send troops to stop them. They just arrived. Men, their families and so on, loaded on cows, looking for grass. In the process, they cut down every tree they can find. Now, by the protocol of ECOWAS, you can't stop them. But we told the ministers today, and I spoke at the meeting, and for your information, I spoke to them in French, so they'll understand better. We cannot allow this matter to continue. Because those killed in Benue, the deputy governor just told us, he found that they looked like Mauritanians. It happened before in Benue. They arrived with AK-47s, and as far as they are concerned, there's a war going on in Nigeria and they've come to fight. So today I said to the media, this thing looks no more like herdsmen and farmers clashes. It's looking like an extension of Boko Haram.
The National Economic Council also addressed the controversy surrounding President Muhammadu Buhari's approval for the withdrawal of $462 million from the excess crude account to purchase military aircraft from the United States. Now, lawmakers in the National Assembly have threatened to impeach the president over his approval and have also sent the matter to their committees on judiciary. But speaking after the NEC meeting on Thursday, Jigawa State Governor Badaru Abubakar defended the president's decision. Badaru told newsmen that the decision was taken based on the urgency and the time frame for payment given by the U.S. government.
We have been begging Americans to sell these equipments for us. We tried Dubai, they could not allow because it's patented. We try, I think there is a factory in one of the, I think it's in Brazil. The federal government tried, we couldn't get. The Americans still couldn't sell to Nigeria. Then luckily, the president said it's okay to buy. That's President Trump. So we have to quickly buy before they change their mind. Because there is also a deadline, and this is state-to-state transaction, no middleman. And we are all here concerned about security. And they're raising questions on how and manner on which you protect people. This is an emergency situation. So this thing has to be understood clearly and look at the whole situation in the fuller perspective, not a narrow perspective. The president did what he has to do to protect his people.
The Lagos State Division of the Federal High Court on Friday granted bail on self-recognizance to the senator representing Delta North in the National Assembly, Peter Nwuboshi. The senator was charged with an alleged fraud of 322 million naira. The presiding judge, Justice Muhammad Idris, however, instructed him to get two sureties who will each sign a bail bond of 50 million naira within 72 hours. Nwuboshi was also asked to deposit his passport in the custody of the court, pending the conclusion of the case. The case was then adjourned till June 13 and 20, 2018 for commencement of trial. The Federal Court of Appeal in Kano has ordered the forfeiture of the money recovered from a former Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), Andrew Yakubu, to the Nigerian government. Justice Obieton Barakalio, in his ruling, upheld the judgment of the Federal High Court in Abuja last year. Yakubu's counsel, Ahmed Raji, approached the Federal High Court in Kano, asking the court to revoke the order, but his appeal was dismissed for lack of merit. The judge held that the appellate court resolved all the issues in favor of the EFCC. Michael Adeyemo, Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, is dead. Adeyemo died at Jericho General Hospital in Ibadan, the state capital, on Friday. Now, according to reports, the All Progressive Congress lawmaker died of a heart attack. Adeyemo was re-elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress in 2015, after which he was elected the Speaker of the Assembly due to rotational consideration among the 5 zones in the state. He hails from Lalante, Ibarapa zone of Oyo State. You're watching News Now on TV360. Up next is Business News.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that, because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, my vote no go count now, try vote first, maybe you see whether it will count, you know.
It's good to have you on Business News. I am Esther Vese. The Central Bank of Nigeria says the daily limit of funds transfer from mobile phones using short codes will now be 100,000 naira. In a circular signed by Dipo Fatukun, Director of Banking and Payment System Department, the bank said the decision was made because of the risk associated to mobile banking. According to the circular, transactions of over 20,000 naira will require a PIN and soft token. The new directive is to be enforced in June 2018. The Federal Account Allocation Committee meeting of the month of April finally held on Thursday, after cancellation that halted it on Wednesday. Poor revenue returns by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) was reportedly responsible for the postponement of the meeting earlier scheduled for Wednesday. However, at the resumed meeting, the Accounts General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, announced a distribution of 626.8 billion naira to the 3 tiers of government, and that's the federal, state, and local government councils.
For the VAT figure, a total of 83.7 billion naira was collected, and this was also subjected to deductions by way of cost of collection of 4% to the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigeria Customs Service, which amounted to 3.348 billion. So distribution to the 3 tiers of government on gross terms is 564 billion 299 million. There is also distribution of 62 billion 528 billion from Forex equalization account, which beefed up the figure, the total figure for distribution this month to 626 billion 827 million, as against the total figure distributed in the previous month of 647 billion 390 million naira. The reconciliation that was started last month continued this month, and there is nothing new. We couldn't meet yesterday because we feel certain milestones have to be reached, and on getting to those milestones, we sat today and we have considered the figures for distribution. We don't base our projections on speculation. There has to be concrete basis, and in this case, since we are distributing revenue, we must get the figures clearly, exactly, without any difference, without any breakage, so that we discharge our obligation to the latter.
The balance in Nigeria's economic crude account is now at $1.8 billion. This was disclosed by the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Oluronti Adebule, at the end of the National Economic Council meeting on Thursday. Adebule said the council was briefed by the Account General of the Federation, Ahmed Idris, who said the account had depleted by $500 million in the past 2 months.
Balance in the excess crude accounts as of April the 23rd, 2018 stands at 1,829,862,047 dollars, while in the stabilization fund accounts, the balance as at April the 23rd, 2018 stands at 14,226,835,000. The balance in the National Resource Development Fund account, as reported by the Accountant General, as at April the 23rd, 2018, stands at 134,912,870,000 naira. Of course, he further gave an update on the budget support loan facility to states. 35 states commenced the program in 2016 and collected 1.3 billion naira and 1.3 1.3 trillion naira. And of course, in addition to that, another 1.11 billion has also been collected.
Now, activities at the Nigerian equities market closed the week retracting from what seemed to be a bear trend as the market had closed in the negative territory for 2 consecutive days. The all-share index rose by 1.15%, with market capitalization closing at 14.940 trillion naira, and this is following gains from Nestle, International Breweries, Mobil, and Nigeria Breweries, who were leading the gainers table ahead of 32 others. On the other hand, Forte Oil, Cadbury Nigeria, MPF Microfinance Bank, and Unity Bank led 10 others on the losers table. Being the toast of investors, Mutual Benefits Assurance, First Bank Nigeria Holdings, Zenith Bank, and UBA were the most sought-after stocks at the exchange market. At the close of the day, 319.342 million shares, worth 2.795 billion naira, were traded in 3,863 deals. Well, that's it on business news. News Now will be back after the break. Please stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Madam, madam, welcome. Okay, madam, no worry. When you deliver the balance, we'll give you the goods.
No problem, no problem. All right, so now well done.
Thank you.
Hey, Oga, I still say she don't bring money. Maybe we'll use this one for her now.
She wants mahogany, not white wood.
Oga, our work now to join wood together, deliver whatever to customer. Put the remaining profit for pocket.
Abba, this is corruption, not in my country. Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Congo officials have confirmed that 40 people drowned when their boat capsized in a storm as they fled fighting in the country's troubled northwest. Jean Bakatoye, vice governor of South Ugangi province, said the deceased were trying to escape fighting involving Congolese troops and people. He said that an army position came under attack on Sunday, and on Monday, army reinforcements arrived, prompting villagers to panic, fearing a wider conflict. They tried to cross the Ubangi River, which acts as part of the border with the Republic of Congo, when their boats capsized. Officials in China say at least 7 students have been stabbed to death and 12 others in a knife attack outside a school in the northern part of the country. The knife-wielding man attacked the students in a school near Meiji County, Shanxi province, as they were heading home for the day, officials say. The suspect is already in police custody now, and Chinese police have given his surname as Zhao and say he was a former student of the school. The Supreme Court on Friday refused to make any pronouncement on the suit seeking the dismissal of the Pinnick-led Executive Committee of the Nigeria Football Federation. Rather, the Apex Court, in a judgment delivered on Friday, sent the case back to the Federal High Court sitting in Jos, Plateau State, where it was commenced in September 2014, and ordered that the said court give it an accelerated hearing. A 5-man panel of the Apex Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Onogan, unanimously set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Jos, which had held that the case could no longer be released before the Federal High Court, having been earlier withdrawn by the appellant. Although the Supreme Court upheld the appellant's contention that they could have the case released before the Federal High Court after the settlement talks broke down, it rejected the plea by the appellants to have the case heard and determined on its merits. Spanish football legend Andrea Iniesta has confirmed he will leave Barcelona at the end of the season. The 33-year-old, who has spent his whole career in Barcelona, confirmed the decision at a press conference on Friday. The Spanish midfielder, who has made more than 650 appearances for Barca, ranks second on the all-time games played list at the club. He has scored 55 goals for the first team, which he debuted in 2002. The 33-year-old midfielder joined the club in September 1996 at the age of 12. Iniesta and Lionel Messi share the record for the most titles in Barca history with 31. Paris Saint-Germain coach Unai Emery says he will leave the French champions at the end of the season after 2 years at the club. This comes as the club failed to win the Champions League, crashing out in the round 2 stage. Emery, whose contract ends in June, said he has met with PSG president and sporting director, informing them of his decision. Well, that's it on News Now. You can watch some of our other programs on Facebook at facebook.com/TV360 online. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/TV360 Nigeria, and we are also live on YouTube at youtube.com/TV360 Nigeria. We are also on Google Plus, and our handle is TV360 Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching. I am FIDELIA AGWUNCHA.